This episode of That Boys Got Knowledge was recorded at the House of Bombshell, located at 3601 Clarks Lane, Baltimore, Maryland.
You say that you love me, is it true? You say I'm the only one that's all for you. Okay, make me feel away, make me feel away. Shorty so damn dangerous, fuck me like
Let me ask you this. What y'all think of 9 to 5s?
Trash. Sorry. Yeah.
Give me your view on that.
Trash. 9 to 5 ain't nothing. It's meant to suck life out of you. 9 to 5s are pretty much structured like school days. Pretty much you have morning, lunch, afternoon, done. That's all it is. They train you to work a 9 to 5. If you expect me to sit there at a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, you're crazy.
It's structured though.
You're crazy.
Structure your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Most people retire at what 70 something now?
Nah, people,
Might
because
be
people
like
be
80
bored.
right now.
Yeah.
Because ain't nothing to do. It's boring. I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta find something to do. You know, work.
I'm not going to stay at one job for the
They
majority
don't.
of my life.
Some people retire and then pick up another job. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
After they
Why
retire.
would you do that?
9 to 5,
You
though.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Where-
I mean, my thing with 9 to 5 though, it's like you capped though. Like you can't really make as much money as you want to because like they always going to like limit you
It's like
to
what I
something.
said.
Then you giving a company 40 hours plus a week. I do it now, but I mean I'm definitely like trying to get out of it. Like it's not healthy at all.
Yeah, speaking of that, like I know Shane working 9 to 5, especially in like the IT world. I know, and that's like,
That's
I mean,
different.
people that work at IT, they make about 6, 7.
Mm.
But well, I know it's a process when you be like, man,
I mean, it's like anything. It's a process to get to whatever level you want to get to. But like 9 to 5s overall, it's like it works for some, it doesn't work for others. You know what I mean? Some people gotta work 9 to 5s. You got some people that need to be structured, and they're like, yo, I gotta come in at this time and leave at this time. But you got some people, it's like, you know, I know for me, it's like I'm working a 9 to 5 now, but it's just like a placeholder right now for, you know, I'm like, all right, I need to get whatever money I'm making right now, but I got to make sure that I'm still focused on the other goals that I got, so it's not 9 to 5. Like this is not the end goal for me. So.
it's your foundation.
Yeah.
So let me Max Dion says he don't work 9 to 5 low key. He basically got his own business. So what made you not choose the 9 to 5? I know you probably started it, but he was like, no. Like when was your moment you was like, nah, I'm out?
Man, I was working in the school system. I was a teacher for a while, and I was up for promotion. I was teaching this special program called like Change Agent. It was called Change Engineering. But basically, it wasn't none about engineering, but all about structuring the mindset and the skill set to be able to adapt to any situation and thrive in environment. So it was kind of like an elective type of deal. And I was up for promotion, and I wasn't even considered for the promotion of the job. They didn't even allow me to interview. So I technically got kicked out of the 9 to 5 realm, and I was just like, forget this, I'm gonna just go ahead and just grind out my business. I was running like 3 or 4 businesses at the time anyway, part-time, spare time. So I think, you know, that 9 to 5 thing, I think is necessary to an extent. You know what I mean? Because you think about it, everywhere we go, the airport, we go to supermarkets, we go to malls, we need people to work. You know what I mean? Like, we need people to do their job. But at the end of the day, for you personally, like, you got to pick what lifestyle you want.
Right.
You want that lifestyle. Like, I was working in Annapolis, living in Baltimore, waking up at 5:30, racing down 97 to get to work by 7. Then I was coaching football and lacrosse, so I'm staying down there from 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning to 7 at night. And then I'm married, I'm trying to get home to the wife. I ain't no time for nothing.
Right.
So,
You're tired, though.
yeah, you know what I mean? And then it's, you know, when you're dealing with kids, man, it's a gift and a curse, you know what I mean? Because you want to see them, like, elevate, do their thing, but at the same time, they suck the life out you. Like, you be down there doing, like, you not my child, you know what I mean? But you giving it all to, you know what I mean? You want to see kids grow and blossom. So, I'm cool with the 9 to 5, but I probably would never go back, ever go back.
You feel like you work more?
Ever.
You work more now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, like, it's either way, whatever lifestyle you choose, it's going to be struggles, it's going to be obstacles. Now I think the biggest thing, one of my biggest things is time management. Like, I got an office in my house, so every time I'm home, I feel like I got to work. So it's times where it's 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock, and I'm like, I got this logo design, let me go do it. I got this project I need to work on. And my wife like, you need to take the baby, you need to take out the trash, you need to do, you know what I mean? So it's like, just like to be able to separate the two, you know what I
You
mean?
just gotta juggle. That's all it is.
That's
You gotta
tough.
be-
It's tough though.
Yeah, and it, but
Juggle.
it ain't really no.
Sometimes when you focused in, like if you at the house, you got the office and everything like that, you like, nah, I gotta make sure I get this money. Like,
Yeah.
I want to make sure I take care of my kids. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure my kids are sleeping on polo pillows. Like, you want to make sure
They
your
got
kids
polo
is.
pillows?
Yeah, they got polo pillows, man. Like, you want to make sure they living the best that they can. You're like, yo, so I gotta get this. Like, I gotta get in this office, and I'm gonna spend this extra time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see,
And
it
really
ain't
get
work. I got a gym, right? Got a weight bench, weights. I ain't touched that joint in like a month because I feel like every time I go on my space, I'm working. You know what I mean? So I can't. It's kind of hard to disconnect
You got
from.
a gym in your crib?
Yeah, I got like I call it a gym. I got a little,
Something
bag,
slight.
little bench
Look,
press,
it's more than
couple
what I got in the
dumbbells,
crib.
but
Listen, all you need is a good 30, 40 minutes and you good. Out your day.
But man, like
30,
I'm telling you,
40 minutes, yo.
like I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm in a place in my business where if I don't expand, I'm gonna fail. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause everybody, most of the people that come into business, you think of what I can personally do, right? But then when you max out that capacity, and then you like, man, I'm still got, I'm a graphic designer by trade. I got a creative agency called Epic Art Universe. So I do like graphic design, logos, websites, marketing campaigns, stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, man, I can do this. But then, printing apparel is another thing that I can make money off of, but it's labor intensive. So I don't even market that service, but I tell my clients that I work what I do. If I marketed it, I wouldn't have no time to really put into it. So if I don't scale, I'm gonna fail because people are like, oh, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. I'm running 30 days behind, 3 weeks behind, then your name get tarnished. Like, I can't call you for that. And in business, everything, your name is everything.
It is.
So you jump from like different project to project, or like you do multiple projects?
I do multiple projects.
Got to.
I got like ADD, bro. Like, I could be having a conversation with him. You ask me something, I switch it to you. Like, you open up my computer, I got 90 different projects up at one time. I got a whiteboard over here with all of this stuff.
You gotta have a whiteboard. I gotta get my whiteboard, man.
He be tripping because we be sitting down in these meetings. I don't think he be paying attention. He be talking about, I hate you, bro, doing this. Yeah, I hate you, bro. I'm like, yo, come on, yo. Lock eyes, no homo. Like,
I want you to
feel me. I'm like, I need you to understand.
No, but like, I don't know. I think, when you a creative mind, like, that's all I do is think about opportunities, new ways to grow stuff, build stuff. Like, I'm telling you, I can listen to a conversation and figure out how, based off my network, I can include him in it, him in it, him in it. And it's just like, it's like a natural thing, but then it's like, oh, I need you to type up a proposal and send over an invoice. That ain't my spot. As much I learned it over time, but I know that's not my strong suit. I'm not an administrative, organizing. That's just not me. Like, I'm a creative person. That's all I want to do is think about new ways to do stuff.
Yeah. I want to switch shifts. I want to get with Nemo. I know he's trying to branch off and do his own because he got his own wellness business.
Right.
Talk to us about that a little bit.
So my wellness company, Good Life and Wellness. My last name is Good, so I did use my name. This is probably the only business I will use my name on because it's really my baby. So I sell sea moss, cold pressed juices, detox teas, things like that. Basically trying to help our community be a little bit more healthier for real. Like you saying, you can't hoop no more.
Oh, it's been a minute, dog.
I'm like me. Like, I gave up hooping like 2 years ago, but I still keep at it because I put the right stuff in my body. So we start, showing our community we can do that. We all gonna feel better longer.
Nah, that's a fact.
So that's really my business. But yeah, back to that 9 to 5 thing. I'm basically using that to fund my business. So
About the city
foundation, that's what it is. I'm working, I'm grinding. 45 hours a week, but on top of that, I'm going home to go, make these products for my customers, while I'm using that money to fund it. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to touch on too. I wanted to say, where do you think you're gonna be at? I want to try to put a time scale to where you be like, nah, I can actually jump into this full time now. Where do you think you're going?
So I just moved back from New Orleans. Almost a year. It's about 2 weeks. I've been here a year. So I had to basically stop everything I had in New Orleans, come here and build my whole clientele back up. So that was a struggle. So I kind of put like another like 2 years on like my life of like being able to not go to work every day. But I mean, if I would have stayed in New Orleans, I probably would have been done because I had that many people like
Yeah, you was
buy my
booming
stuff
though.
like every single day. But my mom was like, I was reading like The Alchemist, whatever, and like when I was reading it, it was like, all right, he did this, he did all this, but he still ended up going back to where he started.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like, all right, I'm from Baltimore, I need to come back home, use this foundation, and use my support system here
Facts.
and build it back up. So I see myself in about a year and a half, 2 years, and I'm gonna be good.
You gonna get there. You
Yeah,
gonna get there.
definitely.
Your shit, I ain't gonna hold you. I took some of that tea that one time I got that
Yeah.
tea, boy. I was going through it. I was going through it.
Hey, man, all them toxins in your body,
Yeah,
man.
I was going through it. I
That
had
to work for me.
Listen, nah, that
I
joint
took
work.
my cousin had some tea. Don't give me the line. But it was like 2-gallon joint.
You did?
You got to drink it in like 4 hours. It was something
Oh,
crazy
no,
like that.
No,
Mine-
you
mine
drink
5
no.
days.
5
So, like,
days,
it's-
yo,
It's
listen.
like it's 8 ounces for like breakfast, lunch, and
Lunch and
dinner.
dinner,
but,
bro.
like, it's going to flush
Bro,
your system out.
when I
And
tell you,
bro,
I had to pee every hour on the hour. I had headaches, body wasn't feeling right. I was like, yo, that's right, yo. I said, I ain't gonna mess with Nemo and stuff. And after, I was feeling cool. I was feeling great. You know what I'm
Benefits,
saying?
like you said.
What you saying, like a 5 day? I want to do that.
5 days.
It's 5 days.
5
It's a
days,
gallon
yo.
of tea, so you drink it three times a day.
Day.
Breakfast, lunch, and then it's like 8 ounces. But I mean, of course, you gotta change your diet a little bit.
A little bit,
It's
yo.
definitely gonna like
It's gonna
flush you.
it's gonna
It
flush
flushed everything. I had, yo,
I
my body
wasn't
felt
dunking
crazy.
the first time I even did it, and like the week after, I was like jumping again.
For real?
I felt good.
Man, you felt amazing.
Your body right now,
You're right.
you gotta be right.
I need
I'm trying to
terrible,
tell you.
man.
I get all the sea moss from him. Like I just told my off camera, I said I need to have an order, man.
I got you.
That joint be working wonders for me. I know people got their whole conspiracy about the sea moss and all that stuff. People start bringing COVID kind of help out.
Oh, it
sea moss,
definitely- it
sea
definitely
moss,
did.
and eating healthy and stuff like that. That's why I actually wanted to come on the show.
No,
'cause
I never did sea moss though. Like, what do y'all be doing with it?
Just,
Like,
I mean,
so it's
spoonful
many
more
ways to
than
do it.
tea.
So like it could be in the gel. I also sell it in the tablet. So you can take it as a pills, like 3 small little pills that you take.
Really?
You take all of them at once? Or?
So
It's,
like
it's 3, they
concentrated?
real small.
Oh.
So like they're real small. It's a cold press pill.
I do the gel.
It's like a
Explain that process. What does that even mean?
So,
Cold
like,
pressed.
cold press is like, how can I explain it? So with the pill, I can't really explain it because I send it to somebody.
Okay.
to do it. But like far as the juices, whatever, like the juice, it basically like it squeezes in a certain way. It's not like how like you know how a lemon juicer, like you just like you spin it. It's not like that. So it actually squeezes the fruit, vegetables, whatever you use, and like pushes it
all
through
the
like a
toxins.
little strainer. So that's the cold. That's basically the cold press process.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean it's very simple, but I mean if you look at the juices, like you can look at different juices and see that like, all right, that juicer is not like putting it through a small strainer. So like you're basically straining out all the juice. It don't make a lot of juice, but that's why like I charge a
Time
lot.
consuming.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a lot that goes through it with like juice and like cutting the fruit. All it's hard. Like it's
I
tough.
thought cold meant like it was like a cold machine. Or
No,
something.
no, it's not.
Like that's what I was thinking. Like, it's real cold if
It's
I'm
just
drinking cold press.
No, it's I'm trying to think of the name of the other type of juices, but no, it's not. I mean, of course you want to use cold fruit and vegetables, but like no, it's not. It's not a machine that makes it cold. No.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's
wish.
like it's expensive. Like the cold presses be like expensive now. At
Yeah,
first, at one point, it was
definitely.
decent, but now
A
cold.
good one.
Yeah.
A good one starting at least 400.
Yeah, so it's
Oh,
like
shit.
like you said,
the machine.
A good one, yeah.
it's like one of your heat presses. It'd be like that's how like an investment. You gotta
Yeah.
go into those
Definitely.
businesses.
I want a commercial one soon. That one like 2,500.
Speaking of investment, I want to see since I know we all besides Nemo and work 9s to 5s and trying to. What other things we do off your work schedule, like investments? What do you see? What do you invest in? What kind of things do you do to make more money off your foundation? You feel me?
All right, so I got a graphic design business, and off the graphic design, and I told you I was a print apparel. So I came up with a clothing line a long time. When I first came out of college, I ain't had no money. I ain't get no graphic design job. I was just like in my mother's basement, like, man, I gotta figure something out. I had drew something out, my bro was like, put it on a t-shirt, turn it into a clothing line, but I never had a purpose for it. So I was just buying shirts, printing them, selling them out my trunk. No real like business plan or business model.
Going with it.
Yeah, until 2018. I graduated college 2010. So like 8 years go past, and I'm like, look, God, if I don't got no purpose for this, I'm stopping. And the next week, I had a presentation at the health department. I was doing like a bus graphic for like a violence prevention project. And basically, it was like violence in Baltimore is an epidemic, right? And I was just like epidemic? That sounds like malaria or HIV. You know what I mean? We think epidemic, you think it's something that's like totally uncontrollable, like it's just spread like COVID in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she was saying it was violence. So when I walked in there, she said it, and I was just like, dang, I probably can do something. I'm like, why don't people do stuff to prevent violence? What can we do? So she sent me these like risk factors, preventive factors, and I was just like, man, I can just dedicate the clothing line to stuff promoting understanding on why we go into violence. And the crazy thing is, like, yo, the stuff that they were talking about was like the violence prevention stuff. It was like you growing up in poverty, so you living in the hood is another reason people resort to violence. Low economic stability, not having proper food intake, and you know, all of the stuff that, you know, when you grow up in the struggle, you kind of go through was the stuff that they were saying was causing people to go into violence. So so I went in there, I pitched the whole thing about my clothing line. She gave me an after-school program the same day. So then I converted what I do for graphic design. I start teaching apps on iPads to kids, and we start developing social media marketing campaigns around the anti-violence stuff. So they was building all of these different graphics to kind of talk about and highlight the risks and preventive factors of violence. And that's carried now. I got like 2 or 3 schools now, and I'm building a clothing line off of that, because if we got to, like, most social entrepreneurship is what they call it. Like when you got something that's really, really good, but you giving it back and you showing other people how to do it, or you impacting a certain demographic. So now I'm thinking, like, man, if this was a nonprofit, most nonprofits are sustainable through grants. I'm thinking, like, man, if I got tangible product that I can sell, I can sustain a company that's just made to give people opportunity, understanding, and all of that through a clothing line. So
That's dope.
I kind of doubled down on what I already knew and invested that. It's turning into different branches. Good.
That's dope. Is it 501(c)(3)?
No, it's for profit.
Full profit.
I didn't know if you had like a certain branch where you like.
See, I've been thinking about doing the whole hybrid thing, but it's like, it's for tax purposes, 501(c)(3) is like the best way to go. But I'm already getting contracts and grants through the for profit, so it's like I'm gonna basically switch gears and go through a whole nother lane to do the same stuff that I'm already doing.
Yeah, because I got the 503, and like you said, the taxes helping purposes.
It's like
but then,
amazing.
But at the same time, when you got 503, you really got to use that money for that particular. You know what I'm saying? So you with the full profit, you get, you know what I'm saying, it's yours. You feel me? Right. But then when you got that 503, he's like, no, they telling you, if I'm giving you this money, you better use it for this
and
thing.
You gotta show receipts.
So now, if not, that RS and that government coming
for it. Uncle Sam ain't playing with you.
It's something that you can do with for-profits, though. What I'm learning is you can be a for-profit, still do the community and organize stuff that you're doing, but you can have a fiscal sponsor. And basically the money, like a fiscal sponsor is just a nonprofit that you in partnership with. The money goes to the nonprofit, they manage the money, and then they give it to the for-profit to do what the for-profit said that they was going to do with it.
There's ways of finesse.
So
there's a
juggling
lot of there's a lot of ways.
I mean, it's just like it's some stuff that I got to make sure I partner with a nonprofit and a community organization. So I run all my stuff through the community organization, and they disperse it through the community. So
Okay. Speaking of running, we got to run these commercials. We'll be right back.
Hi, I am Jessica Kidd, founder of House of Bombshell, beauty and lifestyle brand based right here in Baltimore, Maryland, and salon owner of House of Bombshell Beauty Parlor. Shop with us online at www.thehouseofbombshell.com and unleash your inner bombshells today.
You say that you love me, is it true? You say I'm the only one that's all for you. Okay, make me feel away, make me feel away. Shorty so damn dangerous, fuck me like I'm famous, yeah. I've been so.
Jim, we went with the quote of the day.
Sometimes growth requires new location, new company, new mindset. How you feel about that?
Man, that quote, like, honestly, I feel like John set me up with this one. Because this is like really, it has everything to do with me. Like, new location. I moved to Florida. I moved to Gainesville, Florida. Me and my wife.
See?
Me and my
Congratulations.
wife.
Just got married.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
Me and my wife, we just moved to Gainesville, and you know, it was because of her job, but we kind of had like this rule, like whoever was gonna get the better opportunity, no matter where we're going, we just like, yo, we going with it. You know, she said she had an opportunity in Gainesville, Florida. I'm like, you know, I ain't really, you know what I mean? I done came all the way from Boston to Maryland to now I'm in Florida. So I was like, you know what, it's the best thing for us. You know, she needed a win too. Sometimes it's just good to see, you know, your counterpart get a win. So I'm like, I can adapt no matter what. I feel like I can make the best out of any situation. So I moved to that new location, and it really got me to focus in. Like, it really got me in a mindset. It got me away from the people maybe I didn't really need to be around, you know what I mean? So then I started connecting with some people that, you know, maybe I need to talk to a little bit more. You start getting on the phone, really talking to dudes and just talking like more positive things. You know, while I was in Gainesville, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to get down here. I'm going to do some more creative stuff. I'm going to start drawing these logos that I want to do. I'm going to start seeing, you know, really start putting my plans together and start writing it down where I'm like, you know what, I can get everything going. It may not happen as fast as I want, but I can start that rollout for whatever I want to do. And just got me in a different mindset. I think a new location is just good for you to just not necessarily start over, but it's like just continue to do things, but just stay more on track.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you open up your responsibilities as a man, yo.
Oh,
You married, yo.
Oh man.
Kids coming next, my boy.
For real. For real.
I want to do a side note before I let Shane keep going. Shane was one of the reasons why we actually started this podcast. He was one of the first podcasters that came out of my, I think, because he used to be on Twitter. What else you been on?
Hey, I'm on every social media, but I am on Twitter.
And they be bashing him on Twitter every time he say some stuff. Women be attacking him and stuff.
Hey, it's part of the game. The Kid Fresh, THEKID FRESH on Twitter.
I know that's right.
I mean,
Shout
the
him
follow
out.
button.
I know.
But you're right. I think what did I start? I started doing a podcast I think it's been like 6 or 7 years now. 6 or 7 years ago, I started a podcast where I was just kind of doing it by myself. And, you know, somebody had reached out to me like, yo, I think you'd be good for a podcast. And I kind of connected with that person. And I did a podcast by myself. You know, just, I didn't think anybody would listen to me talk for an hour or two. It's crazy, right? It's like, yo, I didn't think nobody would listen to me. Mm-hmm. But when I came to find out, I'm like, damn, 500 people listen to just me? Like, this is kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. But, you know, the dude that was recording me, he ended up getting into some legal trouble and he fell off. And then I was like, damn. But at the time, I wasn't thinking, yo, I need to learn how to do this myself. I need to learn how to record. You know what I'm saying? It's really not that hard, but like, maybe I should have learned. So then I was off for like 2 years. And then I had to wait on him. I'm waiting on somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I just feel like I had a lot of different opportunities where it's like, you know, if you're successful once, you can always do it again. So it's like, all right, that didn't work that time. I can do it again. If I want to, I just got to, as long as you're focused in on something. I had the same thing. I don't know if John remembers. I used to have a blog. Mm-hmm. I used to have a blog, and I used to sell T-shirts and everything. And it was like, we were really successful. I was getting like 15 to 20,000 hits a month, and for our blog website. And you know, my business partners, once again, it was like one of the business partners, they started beefing with each other, and then before I knew it was done. Mm-hmm. And that was before. But that's what I'm getting to. It's like it really had me in a mind state where it was like, because this was right before blogs were getting monetized, before you were like getting money. We had articles published by Complex. We were like we were moving in the right direction. It was like, damn, all of that ended so quick. And it just had me thinking, like, you got to make sure the people you involved in business and just friendships overall, because sometimes friendships turn into businesses. You know what I mean? Y'all are best friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes that happens, but you got to make sure you're talking and being on the right page, because you never know what can happen. Because like that, it can end. So you got to make sure you're in the right mind state. Everybody you're doing it with is in the right mind state, and just kind of keep it moving.
Right. That's why the quote was basically low key for you, because if you basically just broke down that, it said sometimes growth. You showing your growth right now. You feel me? So
and you
like
going
new location.
Man, it's tough though. Like the hardest thing though, when things don't go right with your friends and everything, if they really your friends and things don't work out, you can't hold that against them.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff happens. You know what I mean? You may not be on the same page, but you just still gotta keep your goals. You like, if this is what you want to do, you can do it.
But them ones that your so-called best friends, they're gonna be there with you. They're gonna shine through the light at the end of it.
If they the real ones, they there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way you can, with your experience now, is there a way you can pinpoint possibly who they are, if it's going to work, and if it's not going to work ahead of time, so you can avoid it, or is that something you just have to go through?
Oh, you can pinpoint it easy. Like I'm not gonna single out any situation, but
Shots fired.
yeah, I ain't gonna do that today. You know what I'm saying? But like, you can see it like where you're talking to somebody and they be like, yeah, we gonna do this, and then they might do something sly on the back end, like, nah, I'm gonna do that. And you be like, yo, we just talked, and you just say you gonna do this. Like, we gotta keep everything. Gotta be one. You gotta come to a middle ground with everything. There is no right or wrong. Like, if we both choose this, if it doesn't work out that well, you can't say, see, we chose your joint.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You gotta be like, damn, it just didn't work out. All right, the next time we gonna hit this.
Gotcha.
Like, you have to be aligned in everything you're doing and just keep a positive mind. That was my main thing for like a lot of growth. I just try to spread a lot of positivity and not a lot of negative stuff. When you talking a lot of negative stuff happens to you. So I don't even put that into the realm.
And you gotta be open minded too as well, because you gotta listen to everybody what they talking to you about.
I want to change shit and ask Nemo the same quote. It says, what do you think of that quote?
What I think of it, all right, so like, I basically left Baltimore in like 2010 when I graduated high school. And for those 10 years, I was in about 6 different cities. I just came back in 2020. So each year, like, something happened, and it was like, I don't need to be here. I went to 5 different colleges. The first 3 colleges I went to, it just wasn't a fit. Well, the 3rd college was actually all right. It just I didn't belong there as far as my talent, so I didn't want to stay there. But like each year, so it was like my first year of college had a heart infection. It was my eating stuff, like how I was eating, but it was like the environment I was in just wasn't the right environment. Went to the next school. I actually got locked up for like 3 days for something that just being black, basically. Got put off the team. I was like, all right, it's not the right environment. Came home, finally found a school that actually liked me. I was there, but they wasn't trying to pay for school, so I was like, I can't be here. So like each year, I finally found like the school in Xavier, in New Orleans. Finally found a school that I was like, I belong here. It was around my first black school ever. Like, the first 3 schools was all PWIs. I was like, bro, I need to like be happy wherever I'm at, and like so like that that's why I like new locations really like it brought something to me, because I actually was depressed those first 3 years. Like I was in a depression. I was stressed. I wasn't sleeping. I really started sleeping well like when I changed my diet in 2017.
Wow. Like I
wasn't sleeping right. I was just like struggling. So like with that, like location, change your location if you ain't feeling right. Like I really like I'm keen on that for real. Like no, I will move like out of my apartment complex if I don't feel like it's comfortable.
That's a fact.
Like saying what it's that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, what about your the new company? Mindset, because I know, like I said, I remember you at Xavier. I used to come, I was that
one time talking about something used to come.
I came a couple times, you feel me? But I came to the game. Well, I didn't come to the game.
Yeah, you just say it. You came hollering in my dorm room one time.
I did, because it was doing quick winter break. I had my own season.
You're curious, I remember.
Yeah, so I remember I used to come. You used to like, I could tell you was happy then though. I could tell you was like, yeah, I could tell you was enjoying yourself. You were trying to enjoy. I mean, even New Orleans.
HBCU?
Yeah.
That's different.
New Orleans though?
No, not even New Orleans. HBCU.
tough.
Just HBCU,
Yo,
first
HBCU
PWI,
in
though,
New Orleans,
it's a whole
though.
new
That's
It's a whole new level.
That's tough out there.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it for sure. I stayed for extra like 5 years.
Yeah, I know. You ain't never come back home.
Nope, just came back last year. I was actually trying not to.
I feel you, bro.
But as far as like new company, whatever, so like I've met people over that time and like people just change. So like I've seen them, like I watched them. I'm very observant, so like I can walk into a room and I'm not gonna speak first. I'm always gonna see how everybody is. So like me, like throughout like life, whatever. Like I've been learning how people move, and like that's why I don't have too many business partners. I have like 2 business partners because like I actually watch them. So like they are my company now because like I know that when stuff like when I'm not doing well, they still gonna be there.
Fact.
As far as what else you asked?
Mindset.
Well, I just had to grow up. Being on my own for 10 years, you learn like life really hits you fast. Like my mindset is like, man, I just meditate when something ain't going right instead of like, I used to just get upset and just make like dumb decisions.
Facts.
Instead of just like, all right, it ain't going right, all right, figure out a new way. So like that's just how I move now. Like I think first.
That definitely comes with age, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably a little bit older than me.
Oh, no. Just a little bit.
A lot of it.
He older than me. He graduated college in 2010. I graduated high school 2010.
Dang, Dion.
I was on the older than
I graduated high school at 5.
I did too. So
I wasn't even in high school.
Oh, y'all the same.
Same OG.
I'm trying to tell you that.
See, well, I finessed my years in college, so
Yeah, you can't really add college years, man. You could be in college for a long time.
I was in college for 5 years. So.
I did about 5 years, 2 schools.
Bowie started me
Sound
over.
like a bed.
Bowie started me all the way over. They didn't accept none of my credits.
You
from
left
my
Barton
school.
and they just start over there. You left Barton and go
They
straight.
started me
That's
all the whole way over.
dang. That's
He went from winning a national championship, go on the boom, and had to start over. Go ahead, credits. You know what I'm saying? He would take them.
That's crazy.
Merlin don't take a lot of credits though,
But
bro.
they didn't make
Yeah.
my school was definitely better. That's why they understand it.
Where you transferring from?
When I transferred from Barton, they took away my like American history. They was like, yo, you got to take African American history. That history you got don't count.
Because Boys are blacks, HBCU.
I was at Bowie for 4 years, and then
After
1
doing
year.
years somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost one.
So
I lost
That-
4 years school.
that ties in though too. Like it gave me a new mindset because I went there and I had to start over. Not only when I got there, my eligibility was messed up, so I no longer could play basketball. So now, for my first time ever in college, I'm in the library.
Regular student.
I graduated cum laude. I never got those type of grades back
In
then.
high school, hell
You know, not even at my last college. So it put me in a different mindset. It got me really focused. And during that time, that's when I kind of started everything up with social media and everything else. I was like, damn. It took away basketball. That leaves you in a depression.
You know,
as itself.
no, it's not
All
really
y'all
depression though. It's not really
They
depression because you
took all
really
that stuff.
learn. Cause like, bro, you really don't have nothing really to do. Cause like, yo, you went from
I'm trying to walk on.
Two and like
And you lost all your eligibility?
yeah.
I lost a year and a half, so I had 1 semester left. And then when I got on a Bowie after that year and I'm working out, at the end of the year he was like, I don't think we'll need your services. And I was like, what? I just spent this whole year here.
Oh, they pimped you.
So you know what I mean? It jaded me. So throughout that, it changed. Like I said, it changed my mindset, and then I had to get into the thing where I had to close chapters in my life, where so I'm not resenting people in the past. Get rid of the past. Get rid of the whole past where I'm not even mad no more. It's like, all right, this dude might have been a terrible coach, but that's cool. He had to make his own decision. This is his job. He like, yo, I'm making 6 figures. I can't put this dude on and lose my job.
Right.
You know what I mean? I still go back to my alumni game in my old school. My coach apologized to me. He's like, yo, I messed up. I'm sorry. So then you go back. I went back a lot of things in my life. I closed chapters, and then I could start. Then I could start new and just be like, all right, get into that whole different mindset, and I was good to go.
I had to do that last year. Because anybody who played ball with me knows I was an angry individual.
Yeah.
Very
Used to turn you up. Turn you
on
up,
purpose.
J-Mo.
That was a problem. Like, if someone said anything to me in the court, I didn't want to fight them. And It was bad.
nut.
It's just
He was a nut for sure. We had to
It
turn
was
him
a
up
whole-
though. We needed that
It was a
though.
whole different thing. So even played ball in Howard County. When those All-Star games came up, they said they didn't want me on the team because I was too aggressive. So I didn't make any All-Star teams. Didn't make the county teams because the coaches wouldn't vote for me because I was too aggressive.
It's politics.
They ain't like
It's all
that.
politics. It's still
Right.
politics. I still coaching now
Right.
and stuff.
So I saw my coaches last year, and I realized when I looked at them, like I wanted to fight them. And at this point,
Gotta let that hurt go.
But I thought I let everything go already. But when I saw him, I was like, "Oh, I want you gone." ASAP. Now, that's something I've had to work on. In the top of this year, it was like I saw him again, and I'm like, "How you been? You been good?" So I like this year, like that was the last one. Everything else is gone, but you definitely have to let that pass be the past. If not, it's gonna eat you alive.
That's a fact.
Man, I want to stay on topic, but if I could talk about coaches at my college, well, I walk on, so I go to junior college, no football there, right? Go down to Salisbury. I walk on like I'm 10th string, right? I'm like in the mud down there. Work my whole way up. I'm 2nd string by the time the next spring come in, right? D3, you can't even put on equipment, no spring ball, nothing. So you running around in the gym, strength and agility. Like you outside 6 in the morning, the turf frozen. Yo, they cut me after I was 2nd string after my first year, right? So I spent a year not playing football. Best time I had in my life, bro. College was fun after that 1 year I wasn't
You
playing.
ain't got no responsibility.
Yeah,
You know,
well, like they own you in college.
Yeah,
like
it's
you,
a job,
from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, you on schedule
Yeah.
when you do a sport in college. But so I walked back on my 3rd year. Started playing defensive end. First I was playing linebacker. But the coach, like I had played 2 years, tear my shoulder, played a whole year with a torn shoulder, get a surgery. So I'm supposed to go part-time in my surgery so I can get like an extra year. I go full-time all the way through so I can get the scholarship money, right? Lose a year eligibility, played my last year. Like my schedule was like crazy. Like I think I had 3-hour classes of art major, 3-hour classes. I had 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 3, 6 to 9. Like it was something crazy. Like I was in this class all day. So we graduate, right? We had like the #1 defense. I'm starting like after like the 3rd year. We had like the 3rd game. It's #1 defense, like rush defense in the country. So the coach coming to the senior meeting was like, man, I thought we were just gonna go, maybe 5-5, a bowl game. And I look at him like, man, all this work we don't put in, and you come here with these low achievement goal, and then we like overachieve whatever. I had another year, couldn't use my eligibility because I was in college for 5 straight years. So if you're in college for 5 straight years, you gotta be out, no matter if you transfer from another college or not. But I still regret that year, man. They were like 1 game away from the national championship. My supposedly senior year, they was like, well, they got the #5 in the country. Spoke 1 game from the national championship, and I was like, man, that was my team. That was the team I done prepped all this time. We doing all this work, grinding. We done built 3 years with, and I couldn't even play my senior year. I was blown.
That's tough.
I was blown.
Adversity, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't play football, yo.
Later.
Yeah, I ain't got it, yo.
Tripping.
PT, yo.
But I ain't gonna hold you. Like after, like when you play basketball, you on that schedule, and then you ain't got nothing to do. That's schedule life. Shit real.
It is. It is. That's why I think most athletes have or should have the best time management. Because going through college,
You do.
you got what?
Shoot.
Wake up in the morning.
5 a.m.
Right.
Practice,
Breakfast.
class, go
class.
back, double practice again.
Right.
But once basketball over, boy,
Got hit the
you live life.
cafeteria in there.
Gotcha.
You living life.
Cafeteria food, phony. Shoot, eating grub. Like, what's this? Talking about you gotta be there, study hard. This.
But y'all HBCU food was good though.
Yeah, it was.
I know.
Yeah,
Bowie had that food.
Unless you get a girl, girl, she gonna want her time
For
too.
sure.
Nah, so I ain't got time for you then. Nah, we done.
If she cooking, you good. She come through.
Well, speaking of time, we gotta take this time to get a commercial break. Be right back.
I just wanna spend my life with you all day. You say that you love me, is it true? You say I'm the only one that's all for you. Okay, make me feel
So
away.
D, what's your pros and cons to your short-term and long-term goals?
In regards to business,
Relationship, life, Whatever you want to start with, play it.
Well, I think, I guess just getting into business short term, it was tough initially. So when I stopped working, I was like 2 years newlywed. So like I was relationship fresh, and my wife had kids when I met her. So that was like, it was a big juggling act. And for the most part, when you go into business, like people don't be understanding like the time dedication that it takes to grow something from scratch. Like it's times where it ain't nobody ringing to phone that, makes, you can get a client or a new client or build your brand or, being able to rip and run. So, short term was like, man, if I can cover the mortgage, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like if I could do, if I could make sure I pay the phone bill, I can, do groceries, like I'm happy. And that's how it was short term. And my wife, we had a tough time at one point where like, man, you be surprised, like with the lack of $300 to $500 extra coming in, how much stuff can blow up over. Now, and it's not. I don't want to say like it's money because it wasn't the money. For women, it's the time and security. Right. Women want to feel like they are secure and they got the time that's needed to build the relationship. You there, you visible. So you trying to do that and then grow a business from scratch, and you gotta like most of the time like
you the man.
What counselor?
You asked my experience, man. I'm just telling you. It's just it's a big juggling act, man. I think the biggest thing I learned was being able to, stop. Like, cause I can't. I'm like a machine, like all day long. Like I'm already thinking of 3 things I gotta do when I leave. But like sometimes it's just cool to stop and just give the time that's needed and take a break and then jump back on it and being able to do stuff. So long term, man, now my wife was working a full-time job when I went into business initially. Now she walked away from her full-time job. Now she's a full-time entrepreneur. But like if I would have quit or if I would have failed or if she'd have seen me like go back to work, I don't think she would have went into she has like she do like natural products like soaps, make soaps, shampoos, body butter, stuff like that. She's a realtor, and she has an online like luxury boutique. So I just told you it ain't start like that though. It ain't start. Like it was 9 to 5, but I think in our marriage counselor, when we went to marriage counseling, we said, look, in 5 years, where do we see each other? And I was just like, in business together, and that's being the sole thing that we doing. And literally 5 years later, we manifested that, and we both doing exactly what we said we were doing.
So that marriage counselor worked for you.
That was my pastor, so you should.
I say you got.
I didn't make sure. I didn't know. I thought you paid.
I did it on Zoom. I did it on Zoom for some months. Yeah, that's like marriage counseling.
Before you got married,
supposed to do it before you get married.
Yeah. Well, I was engaged. This was like it was. Yeah. But I mean, it's good to do it regardless, and whatever stage you in, because like you need to know, like man, we all come with bruises and scars and stuff, mental stuff that we done been through, past stuff. So like man, you won't get it all in the beginning, but it'll come out as long as the relationship and the communication is. Communication is a big thing though.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, like when it comes to what you just said as far as like checking in with mental health and then also the pros and cons, like I said, you just got married. So yeah. Did you do counseling too?
Yeah, I did counseling. I was on Zoom. It was a pandemic year.
That's tough.
It was a pandemic year. Like mental health was really important because, like I said, I moved to Florida. So when I was in Florida, it was somewhere new. I literally did not go outside. Anything, we didn't go outside. It was like a year.
You had the fro too. You had to like.
I just cut my hair like 2 weeks ago
for the wedding.
Yeah, so like I did not go outside. You know what I mean? I don't know a barber, so I'm not going to a new barber in Florida. That's crazy.
Why? You gotta check them out.
You check it out. I'm good.
I got one barber.
But nah, like I'm in the house. All I'm doing is playing Call of Duty all day. You know what I mean? When I'm focused in on doing the stuff I need to do, whether I need to create or something like that, that would help me. But for the most part, you know, it's easy to be depressed during a pandemic. It was very easy to do that. So like the marriage counseling definitely helped me. Mental health is important. You got to call your guys and just, you know, just keep you grounded. Like, you know what I mean? Every once in a while, like, I'm not a person that really reaches out. I'm terrible at it. But like,
you learn though. You learn as you get older.
I'm more of a person. If you hit me up, I'm like, oh yeah, hey, what's good? I got attention issues. So like, if you're not directly in front of me or you're not directly contacting me, sometimes I don't even know who you are. You know what I mean? I'll be like, yo, I'm just thinking about something else. But during that time, like, you know, as far as our relationship during the pandemic, it was really tough. It's hard living in an apartment with anybody for that long. You're not leaving. Like, she working from home, I'm working from home. Are you kidding me? Are you
fucking heads?
What?
Definitely.
Told the seat down, told the seat up.
Like little stuff like when you both working from home.
That's a heated argument.
When you both working from home though, and she get out and she like, hey, oh you don't look like you doing no work. Hey, can you walk the dogs? I got 2 dogs. I'm like, nah, I'm working. Like, nah, I'm working. You walk the dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just getting the little stuff because you're around somebody for so long. It's easy to bump heads, but when you're that close to someone for that long, though, it helps you bring close. It brings you a lot closer as well. Like during the pandemic, like we basically had 2 weddings. I got married in March. I've been married, but I had to do a marriage ceremony for the people, and we paid for this venue. Somebody gonna dance. Somebody dancing.
Somebody gonna drink these
drinks.
drinks.
We're gonna eat this food too. We're gonna eat this food in this open bar.
Food was good though.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, open bar. Like,
it ran out of tequila though. It ran out of tequila.
It was lit, bro. It was lit.
It ran out of tequila though.
No, they didn't. They brought it back. You missed it.
I must have dipped.
You left.
Yeah, I did though. I had to work.
I had to close the thing out. You know what I mean? But like, you going through all of that, and you have to make sure. I have to make sure her emotions are good too, because during all of this, she's stressed out the whole time. Like, nobody wants to do 2 weddings. Nobody wants to go through, you know, having to do invitations and having to invite people. Like
The
me,
invitation was cool though.
me the way I am, you know me, I could have invited like 300 people. As far as the people that have impacted my life throughout all these times. So like through all that time, man, you know what I mean?
Speaking of that, let me get cracked with them. How you get send the invite? How you know when to send an invite to a marriage? Like, you know, people like, oh, I ain't getting no invite, because a lot of people was mad about them getting the invite now.
I mean, I had to go with people that really impacted my life, and I didn't get that many people. We invited 200 people. She got 100. I got 100.
That's a lot, though.
No, it is a lot.
So
But when you're dealing with somebody like, I'm from Boston, so I got all my family in Boston. I got all of my family here in Maryland. Like, his mom's was like my mom. When I first moved here, she put me. I'm in the crib every day.
OD.
Look, his other family, I'm in their crib. I was one of those kids. I'm from the city, so I was out everywhere, and people really took care of me. So, and then I still had my college people. So it was just a lot of people, and I knew I couldn't get everybody. You know what I mean? And you know, and the real rule is, if you ain't talked to the person in 3 years, you can't invite them.
That is true.
But I don't do that. I don't do that because I know how I am. I don't talk to people.
It's
I ain't getting no invite now.
No, you
I taught you more than 3 years.
No, honestly, you one of the people. She said, "Is Aaron coming?" And I was like, and I'm looking through the list. So she was
It's already
like,
100.
she said, "Aaron, Fats." You know what I mean?
Relationships on the wire.
But
On
no,
the
but
wire,
you know what I'm
bro.
saying?
That wedding, them plates,
It's every.
plates per person.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
For me personally, though, I tried to invite a lot of my family from Boston just because my family from Boston, they needed to see people get married. Like, I'm one of the first marriages out of this generation.
Projects out there too.
You know what I'm saying? They needed to see that. So like when they seen that and they came down here, it's like, okay. They was like, oh, this is how you doing it, Shane. It was like, nah, we gotta come visit you. You know what I mean? Everything changes, the mindset. Mindset for other people, you know what I mean, that I wanted to affect through these years, but I might have felt like I'm not ready. I'm like, yo, you know what I mean, I can't do this for my family like I want to, but to them, they're like, y'all just want to see you. So it all goes into it. Y'all gonna have a hard time doing the invitations. I trust me.
No, for sure.
Trust me.
He next, and then him.
You know what I mean?
Who next?
You.
On a lot of fingers.
When you.
A lot of fingers. A lot of fingers.
I was about to say, when you. Come on, man.
A lot of fingers.
I mean,
Yeah, y'all.
he wants to get married like next year if he wants to.
Yeah, next year.
We'll see.
Good luck.
You got
Huh?
You got
Huh?
you got a prospect?
Nah.
What?
The prospect.
You got a prospect? Yeah.
What?
Chris Domingo.
I mean, Chris.
Wow.
Yikes.
A lot of people meet.
Nah, it's a. I don't know if you know. I've been wanting to be married since I was 13. So that's
For real?
Yeah.
That's crazy. For real? You might got to get on Married at First Sight. That might be something.
that might be
Beyonce.
For real.
I'm not doing
For,
that.
if you want to get married that quick, I'm
I
telling
mean,
you.
I want to
Fill out the profile. I think you don't gotta do it, but
Like
fill
John-
out
No,
the
he need to
profile.
fill out the profile. He need to
It's,
be on that
it
jump.
took me a long time to get married, bro.
You
You
gonna show it?
understand?
You gonna show it? You gonna
Me-
show it like 10 years?
we're on and off for like 10, 12 years.
Mm.
And I had to get right within myself, like, yo, what am I doing?
I was trying to
He's out
drag.
here wild.
What am I doing?
I got engaged to my wife in 6 months.
See, I like that story. So what?
We got together.
6 months.
Yo, we got together. We was together for 6 months. We got engaged for another 6 months. Then we got married like 6 months later. So it was like a.
So you just knew.
So you-
Yeah, I knew.
What's your lifetime
I knew.
move?
Huh?
Oh man, more power to y'all. More power to
Nah,
y'all
man,
guys, yo.
Man,
that's
it was a lot. It was a lot mixed
So let me
up.
ask you, when do you know she was the one for you?
You got that feeling though.
Cause I be trying to tell Jim talking about, you look through somebody on the Instagram talking
Why
about,
you
no,
keep
she not
bringing
it.
this
I
He
hate
gonna
that.
still bring it up to tell
Let
you.
me ask you this,
No.
though.
You're
Okay.
like you know.
Don't look at the picture. It was like, no, she not
No,
it.
you gotta talk to. You gotta talk. You gotta talk.
You feel me?
You gotta talk.
No, but I'm spiritual, man. So I prayed for a wife.
Mm.
Right, the John face.
Damn.
Oh God, that's just.
He made me feel so bad. Like, yo, off and on 12 times. Yo, 6 months. I knew. Yo, I knew. She
I
was
mean,
the
it
one.
wasn't that easy. Yo, like,
Bro.
I probably have a whole podcast about how that whole situation went. It wasn't no easy decision. You know what I mean? But,
6 or 7 months.
I had prayed, right? And I was like, man, look, God, give me a wife that's gonna understand business, that's family oriented, that's loyal, that's da 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 da. And like, so when I got into business, I went the network marketing route.
Right.
Like, so I was in a company called ACN, right? And I'm still in the company called ACN. I still get residual income from it. But when you deal with people in ACN, like, it's like you basically marketing the service. You pulling up to people's house you just met last week, and you pitching, like this a business idea. But it taught me everything about network relationships, how to build a business structure, all of that stuff. So so I was praying, and she was in my business. We had made a couple $1,000s that month, and like a couple of months going. Nah, man, I wasn't looking. I had prayed, but I wasn't looking. I was just like, man, look, if she come. If she not, I'm getting this money. Like I was focused on the money, but it got to a point where like I was like, dad, I looked up and everything I prayed for was in this girl. And I was just like, man, can I accept that she a little older than me? That she got it.
Jim will like that story.
I'm finishing for
Man, that's beautiful right there, boy. That's
but if you can, you can accept who she was, what she had going on. And I was just like, man, look, she the one. And it got to a point where I was just like, man, do I want to be married? You know what I mean? Like, do she got the characteristics? Like when you're in the game, like you done seen, you done been around women, you done been with women, like you know what you want. At a certain age as a man, you either know what you want or you don't. You know what I mean? Like so you ain't gonna put up with stuff that you don't want to put up with. You don't want to have a run-on relationship. So man, after 6 months, I was like, what am I waiting for? You know?
So
Jump right to
before we get out of here, I want to ask Nemo, like his pros and cons. 'Cause I know he ain't all about relationships. Though. So,
My man,
what about your pros and cons and your mental check-in as far as like your career and then, you know what I'm saying, what you doing with your life?
I think a con of like a short-term goal is like you like overly focus on it, and like that can like mess up your mindset on like your long-term goals because like you were so focused on like making sure this is get done instead of like focus. I think I focus more on my long-term goals than my short-term goals, even though like I need those short-term goals to get to the long-term goals. But it's just like I overly focus on the smaller stuff, and like I think that's a con to me. It might be a pro to someone else, but I think that's a con. As far as long-term goals though, I guess I can say a pro to that is like, let me see, it keep me focused. Like I know that like every single day I wake up, I know I want to get to this. Like I do want. I ain't gonna lie, I do want to get married one day, just not tomorrow. So like in a couple years, yeah, I want to manifest that as well. But like, I know that I want a family. I come from my parents been married 47 years. I'm their last child.
Wow.
I'm the only one that has never been married, no children, nothing. So like, I'm like, all right, and I'm the only one that can pass on the last name. I got all sisters. So like, my last name means something to my father for sure. So like that's my long-term goal, is to like build my legacy, like pass it on and stuff like that. So like, I focus on that every day. So that's why I grind so hard. I like, I want to, my business, one of my businesses, the name is my last name for that. So like, if I don't ever have children, I still got that business that
Foundation.
that's so. I mean, that's I ain't married, so y'all story's a little bit more exciting.
I mean, no, I feel you on the short term, and long term goals though. Like mine is opposite, because to me a long term goal is nothing but a whole bunch of short term goals. So I take like each step. So for me, I like to focus in on the short term goals. Like for long term goals, I might tell my wife, like, we already have it in our mind. It may not be a specific number, but we're like, yo, we're gonna get this. This is the money we about to get in a few years. This is what we're gonna get. So, that's the goal that we're reaching for. So in the meantime, though, the short term is, I work at IT, I'm gonna get these certs. At the same time, I'm gonna start trying to be a little bit more creative and start drawing stuff and just get into it every day. She has a photography business where she does like photos for like, everything, like engagements, baby showers, everything. So like, I try to tap into her to make sure she's on hers for her business. So it's just like, at the end of the day, I set a lot of short-term goals for myself, because I know at the end goal is going to be where we need to be. So,
see, my joint is different. Like, I'm more seasonal, right? I feel like my whole thing is I can't repeat the same season, right? So I can't be doing the same thing. If this year I started doing something, next year I have had it compounded, or I got to find another way of doing it, or I got to scale it to have somebody else working it. But I can't repeat the same season twice, because that means I ain't going nowhere. So if I know my main goal is to be wealthy, to be able to take care of my family, and to like travel every 30 days, because that's like big, to get away, relax,
That's your piece right
release
there.
the mind. Yeah. So I focus a lot on process. Like, man, like if I know, so for instance, I got an equity project, right, that I'm doing. And I know I gotta do this, that, and the third. Like, man, what can I build with this? So in the next year, and I look back, I say, man, I done added this component, this sponsor, that sponsor. So everything I do is seasonal, and I'm focused on 100% process.
So that's dope. I want to say before we get out of here, I want to say I appreciate all y'all coming on.
Appreciate you having me.
So if y'all could, chill, y'all know you about to say something crazy.
No, I wasn't.
Well, y'all, if y'all could, just drop your social media so everybody know where to follow you, where you find you at, and then where you tap in. Go ahead, y'all.
Dion Bowen, you can hit me Epic Art Universe on Instagram. Instagram for Loyalty is Love. Loyalty is Love Clothing on Instagram, and that's it.
So Instagram, good.beloved, GODE is how you spell good. Same with Facebook. Then Good Life and Wellness is my business page on Instagram, Facebook. That's it.
Me, you just catch me on Twitter. On there, I'm really there for the laughs. Like, I'm not a lot of negativity, but I'm there for the laughs for sure. But
Super entertaining.
I try to be a little entertaining on there. But the Kid Fresh, THEKID FRESH.
Okay, fabulous.
And we out.
I just wanna spend my life with you all day. You say that you love me, is it true? You say I'm the only one that's all for you. Okay, make me feel away.